I'll talk about more of this later. I just wanted to drop something right now, so it's just fresh. It's fresh in my head right now. I was having a conversation with my wife and my daughter, and it just hit, and it just chills behind the chills, behind the chills, behind the chills. And when that shit happens, it ain't coincidence. You're being delivered a message, you're having some like downloads, you're having some understanding. I was like, oh, okay, if it's making a lot of sense, if these events that happen throughout the day and throughout the days and the last few days are all coming together, and you're remembering like, oh shit, that's why that happened. Oh my gosh, that's why that happened. Like, oh, that makes sense now. It's not coincidence. When you're aligned, when you're aligned with your conscience, when you're living a conscience-guided life, and you're consistently seeing things for what they are, knowing that life is happening for you, not to you, you start putting together a lot of those days that turn into weeks, that turn into months, and you're letting yourself be led. You're leadable. You don't fight it. You don't let the know-it-all take over. You don't let the know-it-all make your decisions. You actually make yourself very fluid, very flowable. You put yourself in flow state, and you're guided through your conscious mind. I'm getting the chills right now. Fuck. One of my coaches just said not too long ago, a couple of days ago, was like, everybody has something to give. Everybody has something to teach. Everybody's ahead of somebody else. At a certain degree, at a certain level, you're ahead of somebody else in some way. And it's so easy to forget that. It's so easy to forget that. Like, yeah, you do have some things that somebody out there would die to have the situation that you're trying to get out of. It's difficult to sometimes understand, which is so easy. That's why it's so easy to forget, because it's so easy to fall into the trap of lack of gratitude, because that's basically what it is. Something as simple, and it could be seen kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, Nick, you're taking it too deep. But you could go levels. It's like, man, I can't wait to live in a bigger property where my neighbors are not so close, or there's some houses that I've been to, and like Marietta, for example, that it's like, wow, you can't scream at your neighbor, you can't talk loud enough to your neighbor, you can't yell and have your neighbors here if you wanted to have your neighbors here, because just the properties are so big, this way, and this way. So you're thinking, oh man, I wish I could have a bigger property. It's like, you have a property, you live in a house? Like, oh shit, that's right. Like, what you're trying to get out of somebody else would die to have what you have. Taking back, like I said, to something a little bit more classic. Man, I wish I had nicer shoes. These shoes are all beat up. All my shoes are dirty. They're all old. They're all scrapies. There's somebody out there who's saying, Dick, you have shoes? And yeah, you go through the whole idea of like, yeah, I know there's people in third world countries that don't got nothing. So that's why you gotta take it a little bit more broad, a little bit wider, and maybe not bring it down to like, you have shoes, but there's other things, it could be as something as like, you're hating on your job. There's a lot of folk out there, probably not too far away from where you're at, that would look at your scenario and say, like, bro, you have a job? That's so, I'd kill to have a job. I'm having troubles finding a job. I can't find, for whatever reason. We won't get into the reasons, but like, dang, you have a job? Like, fuck, I don't know how to manage my money. I don't have any money. It's not enough. Somebody out there, like, you have some? Whoa. There's always somebody out there that you can teach. There's always somebody out there that you can inspire. Even that, like, well, nobody is asking me to teach them. Just inspire them. Be the best version of you on where you're currently at, and continue strive to be better and better and better every day. Live your life on purpose. to become the version of you that you would respect and admire so you can help others do the same. Just show up. Pull up. How are you pulling up? You're pulling up as the best version of you? That's it. You're being an example. You're being a shining light of possibility for that one person who's 1, 2, 3 steps behind you. You might feel, I know I do, there's times where you kind of like, man, what could anybody learn from me? I mean, shit, I'm losing too. Why would I think? Why would I have any kind of like feeling of like, oh yeah, I could teach you some stuff. Like, shit, I'm barely making it. Well, use that example, use that idea, use that concept of like everybody's ahead of somebody. There's somebody 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps behind you that could use your words, that could use your inspiration, your guidance. You could lead them because you were possibly where they were at some point in your life. Like, oh yeah, I was there. And without having to go study any textbooks or study anybody else, all you're gonna do is tell them your life. Oh yeah, I was 20 pounds overweight. Oh yeah, I was 45 pounds overweight. All you do is this. And you're gonna feel this, and you're gonna feel this, and you're gonna feel this, and you're up against this, and you should get rid of this and add this. In a few short months, you can lose 45 pounds too, because you've done it. Everybody has something to share, and you should share it, because that's that 5th pillar of life, the generosity, the willingness to share what you've gone through, what you've learned. Guide somebody. Be the person who guides, and allow yourself to be guidable. That's what my definition of being humble is. Any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get at you later for sure.